Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Gautam's Cooking Adventures. Today we are going to make a cabbage poriyal and I'll explain as we go along. Basically it's cabbage and it's made into a form of a dry preparation. For this preparation, you will need finely chopped cabbage, some grated coconut, red chillies, curry leaf, mustard seeds, Urad Dal, turmeric powder, and salt to taste. You will also need 2 tablespoons of oil in a pan. And right now we are heating that oil. The oil is hot and usually we want the oil to be nice and hot, so we have the stove turned on to almost high heat. We're ready to add the first ingredient, which is the mustard seed. We're going to wait for this to splutter. It takes about 20 seconds to start doing that. As you can hear, the mustard has started to splutter. We're now ready for the next component, which is the Urad Dal. Now, Urad Dal basically gives it a crunch, and we want that little bit of a crunch with every mouthful, and that's what we're doing here. The Urad Dal is going to be fried till it turns brown or red. While the Urad Dal is frying, we're also adding in the red chilies. We've basically broken them into halves so that it allows for the chilies to cook inside and also for the chili seeds to flavor the oil. We've added the curry leaves at this point of time. Notice that the Urad Dal has started to change color, starting to become a little more brown or red. It's now ready for the main dish to go in, which is the cabbage. Cabbage will cook in its own moisture that it releases from within itself. Cabbage, as you know, has a unique flavor and taste to it, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to temper it with the flavor of all of the other masalas that we've added. Again, not the masalas, but really the flavoring agents. Mix the entire items together till it blends in all of the other items that we put in along with the cabbage. Once that is done, we will add the turmeric powder to give it the color and just that hint of turmeric. Mix it in well, and this is when it starts to cook. As it cooks, the cabbage will let out some water, and the moisture is what cooks the rest of the cabbage as well. It's crunchy right now. The amount of cooking that you need to do is entirely dependent on one's likes. Some like it crunchy, some like it not as crunchy. So how much it needs to cook is dependent on your individual taste. As you will see that all the components have nicely integrated with each other. The color has come on to all of the cabbage. The cabbage has also started to turn color. It's starting to become more translucent. You can see it has let out some of the moisture. You can see the moisture at the bottom, and the moisture is cooking it along with all the flavors that it has also imbibed from the various components that we put in earlier. It's been cooking for about 5 minutes. You can see the amount of moisture that the cabbage has let out. And we're going to keep cooking this. Basically what we want to do is let the moisture evaporate while it is cooking the cabbage as well. We're now going to lower the flame to medium and cover this with a lid and allow it to cook for a few more minutes. The viewers should be reminded at this point in time that we have not added any salt to the mixture. What we're going to do is wait for it to cook well, let the moisture completely evaporate, and at that point of time add the salt in small quantities to the desired level of heat. We're checking in between as well. We want to ensure that it's not burning or catching in the bottom as the water is evaporating. So we do need to make sure that it's cooking well but not getting burned. Now remember, the cabbage cooks really fast because it's mostly water, and that as the water starts to come out, it starts to cook well, and it's not difficult for it to catch at the bottom if we're not careful. A tip for the viewers: we've just pushed all the cabbage to the sides in the wok or pan that we're using, and basically what it does is it lets us know how much water there is in the bottom. We can allow the water to evaporate safely while we are watching. So just a quick tip. We have covered the pan again once we have done that, and we'll go back to cooking for a short period of time, maybe 2 hours. It's cooked for a while. It's still giving out water, but it's reduced. The water has reduced somewhat. This is the time when we start adding a little bit of the salt. Again, we have to be careful that we don't add too much. So one might want to add it in small bits and then mix it nicely, taste it and see if it reaches the required taste level of salt that you need. Otherwise, add more. The leaf itself has become translucent. It's become softer. It's got a slight crunchiness at this point of time. This is actually a perfect time for most people to take this off and garnish it now with the coconut. And finish it off with the coriander leaves. But in our case, we want it to be a little softer, so we're going to cook a little more. But at the same time, we're also going to allow for the water to evaporate. So at some point in time, we might just move it to the side, increase the heat a little bit to allow for the water to evaporate quickly. We've reached the level of cooking that we wanted, but there's still a little bit of water in it, which is what we want to reduce. So the moisture has started to reduce. The cabbage has given out most of the moisture it has, but there's still a little bit. And so what we've done is the increased heat, and by moving the cabbage around, the water comes to the middle, which is the lowest portion of the wok in this case, and it basically helps to evaporate faster. Now at this point in time, while we still have a little bit of moisture, we're going to add a little coconut into that, the grated coconut. And what the coconut does is it also absorbs some of the moisture from it, flavors the coconut as well. We're only using a portion of the coconut. The rest of it will still be left for the later stage. So this portion of the coconut gets flavored with the different flavoring agents as well, picks up all of that. But at the end of the day, we also want to garnish later on with fresh coconut, so the taste of fresh coconut comes through as well. As you can see, the water is all evaporated. There's very little bit, and that's okay because that will get absorbed into the cabbage when we're finished. Remember to keep constantly stirring the mix now that you have the flame on high heat. Don't forget that cabbage can catch very easily and it can burn if it's not turned over. As you can see, there's hardly any moisture left, and this is just about the time when the cabbage is done and we can start the final garnish. We're just to switch the stove off, and we're going to start the garnishing process now. Now you could do it two ways. One, you could garnish right here and then plate it, but we prefer to plate it first before we put the garnish on. We've plated it, and now we're ready to garnish it. First with the fresh coconut, the grated coconut. And then followed by the freshly cut coriander leaves. There you have it, folks. Have fun cooking. See you next time.
Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the like button, and do press the bell icon so that you can be notified of all our future episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.